Okay, we're ready. So a very warm welcome to everybody today to our Quitch webinar. And we're, of course, talking about great products and how one defines indeed what a great product is. So our guest is Oji Udezue, and Oji, I'll get you to pronounce your name correctly. That was the Irish version in a moment. But I thought who better to talk to someone who has basically, you have spent your life building great product. You do, I think, consider yourself a builder, or one of the ways in which you describe yourself. You worked at the world's top companies, so Microsoft, you've had a stint at Atlassian, Calendly, Twitter, and more recently, of course, Typeform you joined just very recently. So Oji, I'm going to hand it over to you for a moment to give the audience a bit of your background and what you're all about, and then we'll jump into some questions, and we'll probably chat for about 20 minutes and give 10 minutes at the end for the audience to ask some questions of you. So over to you.
I think I like the Irish pronunciation. No, my name is Oji Udezue. I've been working in software technology for some time. Like Grainne said, Microsoft, my own startup, Atlassian, Twitter, Typeform now, Calendly. So I've had like an interesting run with some interesting companies. I was born in Nigeria, and at this point I've done many things. I've done tours of duty marketing and design, and led teams of engineering and design and marketing and product management. Yeah, many years ago I met Quitch, and I've been super impressed with Quitch and super enamored with its impact in the world. And so I've been friends with Grainne for some time now.
Yes, we back 2017 at South by Southwest, Oji, I think is where we originally met. So it has been some time.
It is. It's been, wow, 6 years. And South by just actually concluded in Austin just last week. So actually it's still going on for, I think, maybe music or something like that. But anyway,
right.
Yeah, it's been some time.
Yeah. So I've got some questions for you if you're up for that.
I'm always up for questions.
Great. So I wanted to kind of find out a bit about your background in terms of, have you always been interested in product? How did this whole product management world and building product come around for you? Where did that passion kind of evolve from?
When I was coming up, product management was very new and not even, I don't think it was a well-known career. There was only really the engineering option. Most people were engineers. And in truth, most product managers are sort of converted engineers, By nature, I'm an eclectic person. I have many overlapping interests. I think it's probably like undiagnosed ADD. So I'm interested in like physics and chemistry and art, philosophy, psychology, history, and eternally curious. So the minute I discovered product and product management, I took to it like a fish to water. Because here's the thing, product management combines the many skills and interests that I'm interested in, because it's also understanding software, but it's also understanding humans. And it's also understanding the history of technology and how products have succeeded or failed. It's understanding the personalities and leadership skills required to get people to make extraordinary effort to build great software. So basically the very same interests that I had, really. And because of the sort of the integrative aspect of building great products, it became a little bit of my professional calling.
And then, so you studied in Nigeria originally, and then you moved to the US and did some more interesting things there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I did my undergrad in Nigeria in electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering, okay.
But it was this, I took to the software side. At the time, it was networking, network protocols, and stuff like that. And I came to the United States to do a PhD in something similar, electrical engineering, computer science. But I decided I didn't want to teach or just do research. So I got my master's, and then I went to work for a startup, and eventually I went to Microsoft.
And then you went to Microsoft. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you also did your MBA, right? You did 2 MBAs, if I'm not mistaken. Now that's unique.
Why do you have to rat me out, Grainne?
Couldn't help myself there.
So after being a practicing product manager for some time, I was almost bored. I was looking for the next challenge. If you've done something and you've had a decent run, at that point I had like maybe 10 patents, from working on many interesting things. I was working at Microsoft, which was one of the best companies in the world. And I started to search for other challenges. And the search led me to doing an MBA. I went to Berkeley. Actually, I did a program that was a joint venture between Berkeley, UC Berkeley, California, and Columbia University in New York. So for 2 years, I did that. And it was beautiful because I got the best of both worlds. I had like an Ivy League MBA, but also like a Silicon Valley style MBA. Beautiful combination. And for the 2 years of my time, both schools donated 1 MBA each to me. So so that's how I have 2 MBAs. Well, let's not tell everybody. Just an MBA is fine.
So on that note, it takes me kind of to my next question. We talk about business strategy and so on, and we often talk about sales, sales-led strategy in an organization, but your focus has very much been on product-led strategy. So can you kind of define for us what, product-led strategy means to you and how important that is to a company?
Yeah, I think there are various ways to break down this one. Strategy originally is study of war, right? Like, it's how you use resources to win, how to prioritize a campaign, really a military campaign that plays to your strengths and amplifies your enemy's weaknesses, right? In the context of software companies, it's how to find the most effective levers to get to your growth goals, right? That's what it is. And product-led growth is a very specific strategy for that. Now, there's a reason, I think if you talk about product-led, just like out of the blue, it sounds weird or it becomes a matter of opinion. Well, the reason product-led works is things have changed in the last 10, 15 years in software, building software companies. Technology has become commodity with the public cloud, AWS, Azure, and so on and so forth. The technologies we use to run software companies have become also commodity. So it's hard to find intellectual property moats, if that makes sense. Yes. The other thing is driving this is purchasing has changed. Like I feel like we're in the TED era of software, and a lot of buying in the enterprise is starting from bottom up. Professionals who are now more highly trusted and who have more knowledge work are given a little more freedom to find their best tools, versus in the second era of software, CIOs made the purchasing decision for everybody, right? And had tight controls over the enterprise. And also payments have changed. So like if I want a software, I can buy it, expense it, try it out with my team, and then basically ask for forgiveness, right? And say, hey, I have to use this. Now, all those changes that are happening that involve millions and millions of people around the world and millions of thousands of companies is sort of the bones of why people do product-led growth, is because there's a huge amount of bottom-up adoption. Now, product-led growth and product-led strategies are not to be just sort of employed completely exclusively of every other strategy.
Mhm.
That's rarely how things work. But it is to say that it can be more efficient, especially early on, than a high sales-led strategy, which costs a lot of money because you got to employ salespeople and so on and so forth. So I think the point is the alternatives are sales-led and marketing-led strategies, but they shouldn't think about them as mutually exclusive. The question is, what lever gets you the most growth or the investment that you can make at whatever stage you're in? The reason I talk a lot about product-led growth is that's the thing that people understand the least, because the last 40 years of software has been about market-led growth and sales-led growth. So people know what to do there, but a lot of people don't know how to employ a product-led strategy, which is why I talk a lot about it.
Yeah. And it is an important, critically important topic, obviously, for tech companies. On that same vein, then, over the years, Oji, when you've been working in all of these different companies, what are some examples you would say are great products? And also, if you can explain to us, like, what kind of criteria you use to assess that, or how do you come to that conclusion?
It's a good question. I think that great products empower customers, right? And have to have a good business model, which means that you have to have a good way to convert customer love into money. Great products are differentiated from their competitors in important ways, in ways that matter, because you have to have hard to copy ways, otherwise you will not have a sustainable business. Great products solve a feelable pain, something that people can perceive, or give their customers superpowers, or when they use it, it feels like they have superpowers. It's always a plus when a product feels designed and finely crafted. I think that's always a good thing, and so that's a mark of a great product. It's not the most important thing, but when you have that, first of all, it feels good, but also usually you can charge a premium. Humans respond to art and nature and beauty. Basically anything that you gladly pay for, so happily, and use almost every day a week is really a good candidate to be a good product. Coca-Cola, Slack, Spotify, your smartphone, if you like it. These are all really great products.
And okay, so you talked about the design and well-crafted, how important that is. And I think that's something that's not always considered. And I think it's something, I know at Quitch, it's something that we very much focus on. And I know we do have a great designer in Jess. So we will keep on that track. So I've got to ask you then a couple of questions around Quitch, Oji, when we get here to. So what is it? So when you first heard about Quitch, what was it that got you excited and continues to excite you after all these years?
I like Quitch because it's based on science and research, which means that the way it works isn't obvious, but it works. I think I like it because it creates community. It makes learning fun, and to be honest, like, learning is our ability to learn socially is probably the thing that makes us really human and makes us at the top of the food chain. So it feels like it hits a really fundamental thing. It's also really easy to adopt as a student. That I think that Quitch is, super adoptable beyond the classroom, that it can make almost any kind of learning fun. And so that potential continues to excite me. And look, also, I like the people who work on Quitch too. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's a good team. It is, that's for sure. We do have, I do want the audience to know they can pop some questions for Oji into the chat function if you like. So please feel free to do that. But I was also going to then kind of get, I guess, from you, Oji, a bit of words of wisdom from you on your journey in the product world, but also from the point of view of people who are out there and looking at different technologies, and what are some of the things you would say to them to look out for? So there's I guess there's so much out there at the moment. where do kind of individuals start? What kind of criteria, I guess, do they use? And if you could share your kind of words of wisdom on that with us.
Words of wisdom. Are you sure you're asking the right person with that question?
I'm pretty sure I am, actually.
Look, I think building great products is an art and a science. I'm actually, one of my missions is to try to turn it more into a science, more like something that mere mortals can do versus making it mysterious. I think the soul of it, the real soul of it, is to really understand your customer. Like, you need to inhabit the mind of your customer. And I think that's really hard. I think a lot of companies, a lot of teams, really their first instinct is to be ingenious, which is, we have this great idea, we want to put it out in the world. And their instinct isn't to really understand what their customer is feeling and experiencing. So I think that software people can take inspiration, for example, from consumer packaged goods industry, like the people who make, all the gadgets in your home. Because I think those people take customer understanding to a high level. And even though it's not sexy or particularly innovative like we think we are in tech, that makes them continue to be a really profitable industry because they spend a lot of time. I mean, if you go to a grocery store, how many flavors of Coca-Cola are there? And how did they come to them? They came to them by studying what customers wanted. And so for every taste, there is something for a customer for them. And that they make a lot of money that way. So the other part is just innovation. Like, ultimately, software is based on physics and science. And there's magic when we make like sheer technical leaps that are paradoxically not based on studying customers. It's just like based on a lot of research. For example, we're about to undergo a huge sea change in software with generative AI, or more generally, artificial general intelligence, like AIs that can just understand humans, but also can do a lot of math and analysis, are going to transform software. And so, so just to recap, really understanding your customer, but also innovating really hard is where it's the nexus of really powerful software innovation or building a software company. I mean, and I think everyone should be paying attention to the AI stuff that's happening. Anyone who's not paying attention to that is going to get left behind. So that's just a general, word of caution, I guess, for everyone in our business.
And where we are right now.
Yep.
So I'm going to see, Oji, if anyone in the audience have some questions for you. So let's give everyone a second to digest all of that, and then we'll come back. So feel free to pop them in the chat function here. Oji is always happy to answer questions. And just to let everybody know, we are recording the session, so we will also send you a copy of this. So, and you can follow up with us afterwards if you should have any other questions. So I think people are a bit shy to ask you questions, Oji, it seems. So can I just say a huge thank you for joining us today. It's always fantastic to talk to you. I always love to listen to the wisdom you have to share with us after your many years of experience in the industry. And I suppose also the team at Quitch, I mean, we're excited that you're on our board and that you help guide us on our product strategy. And we love the fact that you cut straight to the chase and don't waste any time on telling us what needs to be done and what needs to change and so on. I think that point you make about understanding customers really well, I think is something that we've always worked really hard at in Quitch, and we continue to do so, and also innovate really hard. And also on the AI side of things, of course, we're moving forward in that area as well. So Oji, I'll hand over to you to do a bit of a wrap up, and then we'll say goodbye to the audience.
Yeah. look, I continue to love and support Quitch. I continue to support you, Grainne. I think all the things you say are true. You just built, one of your developers built generative AI feature in a weekend. I saw the demo. I think my pushing on customers and customer understanding, you get taken to heart. I really would love to see even more around your content store and the consumer push and more product led so people can adopt Quitch faster and also just from the ground up. And look, I know that these are tough times with a lot of startups, and I want to be there for you, and I wish the whole team the best of everything, all success. So thanks for organizing this and asking me those hard, provocative questions. And I hope those were good answers for the audience.
Yeah, great. Oji, thank you so much for joining us today. Fabulous to talk to you. Thank you to the audience who are in various places across the world today for joining us. And we will send you a recording, and feel free to reach out to us should you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks so much, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.